I think I've done it. I think I've done it. What's up? What's up? Welcome back. Holy shit! It's been so long since I've done one of these. Welcome back, everyone. I think I hit the live button. We got a lot to talk about today, tonight, I should say. We have some serious news and some less serious news. ETH looks like it's finally going to break out after forming an ascending triangle for like 3 or 6 months. We'll look at that. I think everyone's looking at that, and selfishly, I've been staring at it as well. And maybe if we look at it together, it'll happen faster. So we're going to look at the ETH breakout. It's a 0 IQ play. It's a 1,000 IQ play. So we'll talk about that trade. And then also, there's a semi-viral Twitter, Reddit post of everyone thinks I'm a serial killer. So we'll look at that too. I can't even believe that's a real thing. But I'm going to let some people show up. I'm going to make sure this stream is working. Drop something in the chat if you can hear me. If you can see me, let me know we're good. And we'll kick this thing off. Your mom said the audio is delayed. Let me know if the audio is delayed for everyone or if it's working. God, I just haven't been as active on YouTube or the podcast. So I'm challenging myself to start ripping these again. Get the shows going. Give you guys what you want every single day. We'll see how consistent I can be with them. But the shit you guys want to hear about. What traders are looking at, what investors are looking at, the most exciting moves, news. I promise we won't talk about me being a serial killer every day. I hope not. Let me know if the audio is working, and then we can dive into this. All good, John. Also, drop a. I want to know who's still around. Where are you guys watching from? John said we're good. Temek said we're good. Gang. All right, cool. Hudson said we're good. Good stuff. We'll get into this then. But yeah, like I said, not delayed. All right, beautiful. Like I said, want to start ripping these all the time. So yeah, the stuff you guys want to hear about. I'm not going to give you 10x coins and then shell some nonsense on pay to promote. We won't do that here. You could probably get that elsewhere on YouTube. But we'll look at the ETH breakout, stuff that you actually want to hear about. Devin, what's good? Raphael, was good? Hope everyone's doing all right. Hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving. Markets have been a little bit quiet. A little bit. It's like everyone was kind of waiting. Brazil here. Raphael, what's up? All right. All right, let's look at this stuff then. What the people want to hear about. Am I a serial killer? I cannot believe this is real. Let me turn the music off. So this is a real post that happened. I can't even believe this is a real thing, but it was. Sorry. On Twitter today, before we look at ETH, I woke up to this. All my notifications. Apparently on Reddit, and an AI deepfake technology compiled every serial killer into one man. For some reason, everyone thinks that looks like me. Does that really look like me? He's not a bad-looking dude. He's just, I don't know. But every comment on here, I mean, you had people breaking down how my face had changed over the years. I had DMs all day long. I don't know, man. I don't know. So that's what before I looked at ETH today, I was trying to figure out, I got a lot of people now. I've got people canceling meetings now in Miami with me for Art Basel. They think I'm actually a serial killer. I don't know. We can meet in Miami and discuss if anyone's worried about it, but I don't have too much to say about it. Before we get into ETH, one thing I'm going to propose to everyone watching, I like this question from Ansem. If we do go full bull, again, you guys can see that. Yeah, if we go full bull again, because Bitcoin's bouncing back, you have ETH looks okay. I think it looks pretty damn good. If we go full bull, what's the one coin you're going to go all into for December? What's going to be the best mover? Drop that in the chat, and I'll look at the 2 top coins that get the most requests. So if you want me to look at a coin, chart something, pull it up, I'll do that. Make sure you drop that in the chat so I can take a look at it. Let me pop on over here to Bitcoin though, because some people, over the weekend, people were saying bear market's in, top's in. I read way too many threads that were saying the top is in. It's time to risk off. Maybe that's right. But it seemed a bit ridiculous. We've already recovered that entire sell-off over the weekend. So let's look at that right now. Let's look at Bitcoin. Bouncing back and recovering the sell-off we had over the weekend. It's funny. You look at Bitcoin, this sell-off right now that we have, the sell-off that we have right now, 21%, right? And we've already recovered some of it, is identical to the last sell-off. Let me get this out of the way. Sell-off we have right now is identical to the sell-off we had, what was that, back in September? And I think the one in September was a little bit more fair to be worried, right? We had our first up move for Bitcoin. It was a lower high, down 20%. I get that, right? The current one, I guess, just worries me less. We've never seen Bitcoin top like this. Bitcoin had never topped like this also earlier in the year, but obviously that proved not to be a macro top. I think it's like 20% is that sweet spot where everyone gets a little bit worried once we hit 20 to 25%. But this sell-off currently almost the exact same size. So what happened over the weekend, specifically on Friday, really nasty sell-off, right? Bitcoin looked like it was finally done with this, right? We start to ramp up, and then Friday comes along, and I think in large part the sell-off was based on that Omicron. I'm not even going to say the C word, but based on a variant of that C word virus. People thought that was going to be bad news. And over the weekend, the interesting thing about Bitcoin, since it trades 24/7, it can kind of factor in news cycles faster than stocks can, faster than other markets. So we already started to rebound, right? This is going into this morning. And there was a really interesting tweet by Light Crypto that came out. What happened was, he said, understand what drives the assets you trade. Bitcoin had already started to rebound. All right, so as Bitcoin's starting to rebound, stocks open up, and stocks bounce as well, because the entire market realized, hold up, the news we got over the weekend, which is maybe this variant isn't so bad, there's not going to be more lockdowns, let's chill out a bit. I think that was kind of what the market was reacting to and trying to price in real time on Monday. So Bitcoin bounces, stocks bounce, and we're seeing a bit of Bitcoin making up really that ground that we lost over the weekend. So now Bitcoin all of a sudden, after everyone's calling for the bear, maybe they're right? Maybe the run's over, has already reversed the entire sell-off we had to start the weekend. So we're at the exact same spot. We're still down about 15, 20%. No one knows if we're going for new highs yet. I think we probably still are, but that's just the spot we're in. The other thing I think to keep in mind, and I'm only going to bring this up because it bothers me so much, is people talk about this stock and Bitcoin correlation a ton, like Bitcoin bouncing. Oh, it's just because stocks bounced, or if stocks tank here, this is what Bitcoin's going to do. The stock to Bitcoin correlation is back to basically zero. It was high for most of this year, and it's because we had quite a few news events where stocks shit the bed or risk assets, do terrible. So in really bad events, if there's a moment of, a lot of fear, a lot of panic, Bitcoin's going to track those. Everyone gets scared. Everyone wants a dollar. But honestly, if you look over the past couple of years, Bitcoin and stocks, the correlation is almost zero. And that's the definition of an uncorrelated asset. Sometimes it's correlated, sometimes it's not. So something to keep in mind, at least, if you're watching stocks and you're saying, if stocks start doing bad, maybe Bitcoin's going to do bad too. I'm not sure that's always going to be the case. If there is a lot of panic about this new variant, then sure, you could make that case. Then the ETH breakout is ruined. Then the Bitcoin rebound is ruined. But I don't think you need to watch stocks day in, day out and say, if stocks are going up, Bitcoin's going to go up. The relationship is basically back to zero. Right? And the last thing to keep in mind here, I'll say with Bitcoin, before we look at ETH, the exciting part is something to keep in mind here. We already have the Fed saying that this new variant poses a risk to the economy, complicates inflation. Maybe wait a week. They might propose more stimulus. So at the end of the day, the macro news we got that caused a bit of a Bitcoin sell-off, right, going into the weekend, Bitcoin tanks 2 or 3%. People are, calling the end of the bull market. It looks like we already might get some news. I don't know. Maybe more stimulus is on the way. Maybe they're going to kind of walk back their expectations that they're going to do things with rates. Who knows? But something to at least keep in mind. I know a lot of people were super scared about what's happening with Bitcoin. I think regardless with Bitcoin, I'm going to say this before I get into ETH, before I get into the exciting trades and look at what you guys are looking at for December. The thing that I have in mind for Bitcoin, like even if this bounces and goes to new highs, let's say Bitcoin gets back up to 69K, clears that. If Bitcoin bounces, it's not the most exciting trade in the market. And I try to always kind of keep the market separated in different sectors. So if I'm looking at the most exciting trade, let's say we're full bull on going into December, right? That's the biggest question. If it's a bull market still, what coin are you buying? What's going to do the best? How do you capture that upside? If you were to break things down, like the most obvious trade that's worked over and over again, it worked in September, it worked in October, it worked in November. I've done podcast episodes on it. Is layer ones just outperform everything, right? So in the red over here, I'm not sure you guys can see this, but in the red, you have, I hope you guys can see this. In the red, you have layer ones, right? So you have AVAX, you have Luna, you have Solana, right? You have some other layer ones doing okay, but those things, no matter what, during the downtrend, during the uptrend, those things just outperform. And then you have Bitcoin and ETH, basically here in the middle, the white, and then you have DeFi down here in the blue. If you're buying DeFi, I don't know, just maybe take a month off or something. But those all lag. Solana, AVAX, and Luna are just the most obvious trades, and that's worked for months and months and months. Maybe that keeps working. I think when we look at ETH, I'll kind of make the case for I still think these do good in December, but that's just been the most obvious trade. Like, regardless of how well Bitcoin does, if Bitcoin bounces, I still probably wouldn't buy Bitcoin. I'd look at AVAX, I'd look at ETH, right? Luna. But I don't know. That's just my take. I'm curious what you guys have to say, what coins you want me to pull up. But that's on the Bitcoin side of things. If it bounces, even if Bitcoin looks good, I'm probably not excited about Bitcoin. I'm going to be much more excited about buying things like AVAX, like Luna, and potentially ETH, right? AVAX for a million reasons I've covered on the episode, but it largely comes down to the market is in this weird spot. We can only price things versus other things. So if Bitcoin's going up, ETH's probably going to go up a little bit more because people say the flipping is going to happen, or ETH should be 10% or 15 or 50% of Bitcoin's value. So ETH goes up. And as ETH goes up, then you have a ton of people saying Solana or AVAX or Luna should be worth X% of ETH. So they all kind of lockstep move up together. If ETH all of a sudden takes off, or if Bitcoin takes off, I don't think these layer ones do bad, right? So it's been the most obvious trade that keeps working. Sure, there's some metaverse plays. If you were in Sand, if you were in Mana, nice, congrats. But this is just, this is what you want to buy. It's what you want to hold. It's how you're outperforming. At least me, right? I've been the biggest AVAX bull. It's been a fun ride, and it continues to work. I don't know. It's just all a narrative thing. That is the main narrative that's worked. It's kept working, and it certainly hasn't stopped. There was a really good tweet on it today I'm going to bring up from Loma, and he said every hype cycle gets more and more believable and actually more useful as well, right? So 2018, we had interoperability. God, I remember those days. 2019, we had proof of work. A lot of altcoins launching with proof of work. 2020 was DeFi, probably the best summer. If anyone was around back then, that was absolutely insane. If you were in any DeFi protocol, you're up 10, 20, who knows, 50x. Obviously, those things are doing horrible now, but that was a fun summer. And then this year, we have NFTs and staking. I would even maybe say layer ones are just as important as a trend as NFTs and staking have been. But he said, it's not all inclusive of every narrative, but you get the point. Use the narrative, not the other way around. And that's just so true. This has been, if you're not playing NFTs, this has been the narrative. Layer ones, right? That is the one sector month in, month out that do well. So anyways, I'm not going to beat that drum too much anymore. The reason why I'm bringing it up is because everyone's looking at ETH. And it looks like we might finally get a breakout. I have like the most simplified chart of all time for people to understand. ETH, before we even look at the current breakout, the craziest thing, in my opinion, about ETH, if you were to mark the Bitcoin bottom, everyone remembers this from back from March of 2020, right? The exact bottom, somewhere in here, where Bitcoin bottomed at 3K, right? When you think about a Bitcoin bull run, at least the people that were here around in 2017, a Bitcoin bull run generally, as Bitcoin's going up, right, ETH is going to lag. That hasn't been the case. Whatever Bitcoin maximalists say, I love Bitcoin. That just simply isn't true. Like, the entire year, ETH has been outperforming. Since the Bitcoin bottom, it continues to go up. It's been a nonstop alt season for what? Is it 7 months now, right? 8 months. Different sectors doing well. And despite that, despite ETH outperforming Bitcoin the entire time, it has really never stopped forming higher highs and higher lows. Despite all that, ETH still looks good. And that's why so many people are looking at this chart today. I saw more people talking about ETH today than I have in, God, I don't know, a long time. Let's just put it like that. It hasn't been a very fun thing to trade. It moves slow. Layer ones have kind of taken over the conversation, right? It's like, why trade ETH when Solana and AVAX are going to do so much better? But we finally have ETH in a situation, ETH in a spot. I'm drawing this out super simplified. I mean, if you've never looked at a chart before, or even if you hate technical analysis, it's kind of easy to see. You have a situation here where ETH is forming a beautiful ascending triangle. if you despise technical analysis, think about it like this. Demand continues to kind of walk this thing up. Every single low we're getting here, just, besides that one, people are, stacking bids, moving this thing up. They're chomping at these highs right here. This high, you have this high. We are really close to that, right? Whether you want to call it 0.08, whether you want to call it 0.85, people's lines will differ a little bit right there. But ETH is like, 5% away from a major breakout, probably the biggest breakout, the biggest formation for sure that it's had this year. So after almost a year-long bull run for ETH, you have it in one of the nicest looking chart setups I think anyone sees in the market right now. So we're at a spot where some narratives have worked very well. You have layer ones that have worked very well. NFTs are kind of dead. No one really wants to trade NFTs. Fees are too high. Sure, Metaverse is working. There's like 2 or 3 coins you can buy. And now you have the second biggest coin, ETH, looks so damn good. Like, it looks incredible. And the funniest thing about this is no one likes ETH right now. Like, it is, everyone hates it because you can't trade NFTs. DeFi is too expensive. Fees are too high, right? Sure, I get it. It's deflationary. But like no one likes ETH. There's a lot of people that are hating on ETH. And even with all that happening, it still looks really damn good. So if we move through 0.085, I don't know, like this starts to get to those numbers again that we haven't seen since, oh my God, way back 2018. The highs for ETH were somewhere up here, the real peak of that 2017 cycle. That's like 0.1, right? So an ETH breakout, you only have a couple levels you can really target if we start moving. Like, let's say this ETH breakout happens this week, which isn't that unreasonable to kind of consider or think could happen. We're 5% away. So if ETH breaks out, the next high on the chart is basically what? 0.1 is a big round number. It's about 20 or 30% higher. That'd be a pretty significant, it'd be a massive move. Not even pretty significant. That'd be absolutely huge. And the exciting thing, at least for me, or the way that I view this, is sure, that'd be great. I think this is like the most zero IQ play. Like, anyone can draw this triangle and say, man, it looks like ETH's going to break out. Like, anyone with charting software can look at this and say, this looks good, this looks bullish, I want to buy ETH, especially in a sluggish market. So it's a zero IQ play in that sense, but also 1,000 IQ play of like, this is the most under-owned asset, I think probably the most hated asset right now. You also have people that are super in tune with what's coming out with their scaling solutions and layer 2s. Maybe they're way smarter than me and know what's coming and they're buying. I don't know, but it's an exciting chart for sure. And I have not seen as many people talking about ETH as I have today, maybe all year, right? So if ETH breaks out, I don't know, I'd probably target the 2018 highs. I don't think that's unreasonable at all. The only other thing I do want to consider here, I'm going to bring up this comparison chart one more time. Like I said, play it out. The further I zoom out, the crazier this chart's going to look. But if you just look at November, just look at the past 30 days, how this has gone, no matter what ETH does, it's like Solana, AVAX, and Luna just outperform, right? ETH is slightly outperforming Solana down here. But you have Luna and AVAX, which just dominate. And Suzu actually crowned this term. I'm probably going to mess it up by trying to say it. But he said it's postmodern subjective theory, where if ETH goes up X%, the only way you can value Solana or Luna or any of these things, it's just, let's say ETH is worth 1 trillion in the future. You think it should be. It's like, okay, what are the chances that Solana actually flips ETH? Or what are the chances that AVAX, all the DeFi happens on AVAX is cheaper and faster? So like as ETH gets bigger, let's say it breaks out, right? ETH chart looks good. Let's say ETH does get this breakout. I've seen some people propose that this breakout would mean only ETH all of a sudden does well. In my opinion, I just don't think that's the case. I think it's, if ETH breaks out, Solana, AVAX, Luna, those layer ones that have been doing well will continue to do well and continue to do very well. So that's personally why I'm super excited about it. But I'm curious what you guys think. We're going to pull up the chat real quick and see how many of you guys are buying ETH bullish on this ETH BTC trade. I've just been cracking up. It's like some of the smartest people love ETH right now, some of the dumbest. And it's like, I don't know, man. This feels like the left side of the IQ curve and the right side. It's like everyone likes ETH. I like it. I like the trade right now. I don't know. Also, drop the coins you guys want me to look at, because really that's all I'm looking at. If ETH breaks out, obviously I'm already in this trade. I like ETH. I'm long ETH. But if ETH breaks out, I'm going for AVAX. I'm probably going to buy Luna. I don't have a position in Luna right now. That theme, that trade that's been working all of November, all of September, all of October, right? I don't expect that to stop. And to be honest, the metaverse theme right now, at least, is just a little bit worrisome. Like, I loved Axie Infinity when that thing, what was it, July, or way back in July or August. I was playing that thing for like 8 hours a day. I probably had 60 or 100 Axies. I had a breeding farm. So I loved Axie. I was knee deep in that. But looking at like Mana and Sand and some of these, Illuvium, people have talked about, those games don't launch for forever. I'm a little bit worried about some of the metaverse plays. Right? People are buying these games thinking they're going to be massive. I love play to earn. I love the metaverse. I love NFTs, but it's, you know, when games already have billion-dollar valuations and the games aren't going to be played for another 3 or 4 years, it's like, I don't know. So in terms of trades that are exciting right now for December, ETH for sure. If ETH breaks out, I think the layer 1 trade keeps working. So AVAX, Luna for sure. I do want to know, though, if there's 1 or 2 more coins I should be looking at. Let's see. I'm gonna scroll the chat. See what you guys got. What do we have? Let's see. Someone said look at Hex. I don't understand Hex well enough to look at. I'm not gonna look at it. Man, I don't want to say the word Ponzi, but whew, that's about as close as you can get. Maybe it isn't a Ponzi. I don't know. Hex Mafia, don't come after me. I'm not gonna look at Hex. Curve, not gonna look at DeFi. Someone said Pivex. Wow, I haven't heard that in a long time. I knew that had to be Temic. Why did I know that was you, man? I think that's only on Bittrex. Jack, I'll look at Harmony. I like that. We'll look at 1. That's another layer 1. I'm actually gonna add it to this chart and see how it's done versus AVAX and this. We'll look at 1. We'll look at Harmony. I know some guys, Ansem, have been super deep in that. Let's see. Someone said Rally. If that's not too small, I'll look at it. But if it's a tiny coin, man, I'm not going to talk about it. I don't want to pump some small cap coin. Wow, $1 billion market cap. I could look at Rally. I have no idea what it does. We could look at 1. And we could look at Rally. Is there any other coin? Any other coin you think outperforms ETH in December that gets more votes than Rally? Anything? What do we got? ZEC. Devin, I'm going to let Ledger cover that. I'm not a ZEC bull. We're going to go Harmony. We're going to go... I love my ETH, Curve ETH. TR Irwin said, just take a look at KuCoin. There's a lot of people making a lot of money on KuCoin, man. It reminds me of like, I don't know how many of you guys were around back then, but the Cryptopia days. There used to be an exchange with just the tiniest coins ever that would pump on no volume. It was beautiful. And then obviously that coin went under, so you lost all your Bitcoin. But it was fun while it lasted. It was definitely fun while it lasted. BCO said, thoughts on trading ecosystem coins on layer 1s you're bullish on. I've bought a ton of coins on AVAX. I was deep into Joe, Snowball, Yak, a lot of those. Some of those tanked that I didn't think would. Some did really well, like Joe on AVAX, right? So like if a layer 1 is pumping for an actual reason, if there's a narrative behind it, if they're building an ecosystem, I like it. If you're just buying random coins on, you know, some super small layer 1 because you think it, you know, just understand, I think that the BCO, the biggest consideration there is the further you move out on that risk curve, right? Like if you're buying a layer 1 that's 1% of the size of ETH, and then you're buying DeFi coins on that layer 1, you got to really think about like, okay, who's the incremental buyer behind me, right? Like the chances this layer 1 even survives is 1% or something. So it's like the chance that a DApp is going to be bought and used and get volume is less than 1%. I don't know. Something to think about. All right. So people said 1. People said, we'll go with 1 for now. I'll take a look at 1. I will take a look at 1. We'll see if it looks better than the ETH chart. If it looks better than ETH, I'll consider trading it. But for right now, it's just Luna. And ETH is what I'm looking at. Always AVAX. I love AVAX, so I'm going to hold on to AVAX. What do we got? 1 USD. One's on Bybit now. That's great. We're not going to look at the Bybit chart. 1 USD. I already had it. Sorry, 1 second. Binance. Gosh, all these layer ones look like this, huh? Let me pull up a comparison. I'm curious how one did compared to AVAX and these other ones. Oof, very middle of the road, right? So I'm going to highlight this. Let me just actually get rid of tons of them. You get rid of comp, sushi, ADA we don't need. It's horrible. Get rid of perp, DYXD. Get rid of all these. How do I get rid of more of these? 1 second. I want to show you something real quick. Tezos, we don't need. Atom, we don't need. Aave, we don't need. Link, Uni. All right. So if I were to compare one or Harmony, I'll make this guy yellow. Right. The scary thing about one, and I'm going to dive deeper into this because I have seen enough people mention this that I probably should know about it. The upside capture just hasn't even been there. Like, it's worse than Bitcoin and ETHs, right? So, and the reason I break down the chart like this before I even look at the individual chart is it gives you such a good idea. Like, if you were to look at this chart in isolation and say, I don't know, like, is Harmony a good buy? Maybe it is. Looks, kind of bullish. Could form new highs, whatever, You could even go to granular. You could look at 4 hours, right, and say, are we ready for a breakout? But when you kind of look at, over a month, over a week, as Di said, all my homies hate ADA. And there's nothing to hate it. And there's nothing on ADA. But if you look at like how Harmony's done over a month, right? Like there's periods where, Bitcoin or ETH kind of catch a bounce. So Harmony kind of catches a bounce here. But still, it's underperforming Bitcoin for the month of November. That's pretty brutal. I wonder if the past week that's different. So if we go just over the past, 7 days? What's today? 29th? 22nd? I can't count. Harmony's the worst performer. Okay, second to last behind AVAX. I don't know. Maybe it just pumped a bunch before. I think that Luna and ETH are the most exciting. Luna just because recently it's been able to catch the strongest bid for layer ones. ETH obviously because of the chart setup. If there's a catalyst or something that that I don't know about for one, I'd be more excited about it. And some people might hear that and say, it doesn't have to have a catalyst, or catalysts are kind of what's up, Gupta? Some people are saying, kind of say catalysts don't matter. You don't need to buy the news. The reason why AVAX, if I zoom out for all of November, the reason why AVAX has been here. And this has been the story. I could go back for October and show you the exact same thing. Like the reason AVAX is this is going to be an ugly chart. We'll do that next show. The reason why AVAX has been so high, it had that liquidity incentive program, right? So they were giving out money for people to bridge over, try out the different dApps, try out the different DeFi ecosystems. It's like if one announces something like that, I'd be all over it. But I don't know. I just don't know enough about it. I don't think you're wrong at all to play it, but I'd be very cognizant of if this chart still looks like this in like a week and you just have Luna taking off and you have ETH taking off and one's still sitting back, I don't know. I'd be a little bit more worried. Generally, I think using a relative chart like this, especially if you're not a day trader, if you're not trading in and out every single day, if you're not looking for those 5 or 10%, if you don't want to do TA all day, I honestly think this is the easiest way for the average investor to gain an edge. Like, I just think it is. You look at a chart like this, say, okay, which one's outperforming? What's doing the best, right? When the whole market drops, which one drops the least? When the whole market bounces, which one's bouncing back the fastest? It's just so easy to pick up, like, where money is waiting to enter the market. And obviously, you're going to miss some things, right? Because that'd be the wrong way to always approach it. There's going to be times where something is the cheapest, and you're getting good value on it. So, I can look at this chart. Maybe it is bullish. I wonder what the Bitcoin chart looks like. But without knowing more about Harmony, it's hard for me to be excited about it. I'll say that. Sure, you do have like a really pretty trend line. It's just been riding for, what is that, 3 months now? It's nice. It actually kind of reminds me of, this is identical to the Tezos chart I looked at today. So on that front, yeah, sure. I think it looks better. The way it's kind of grinding up, at least in the Bitcoin pair. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 really nice touches of that trend line. If it gives this up, I'd be a lot less excited about it, right? All of a sudden, it looks like the trend versus Bitcoin's gone. Initial thoughts, I don't think it's a bad play because I love the theme of playing layer ones, especially if ETH does well. I don't think it's going to perform as well as Luna and ETH, but I certainly don't think it's a bad play. I wish I knew more about it. The other side of it is I think it actually does look quite good on the Bitcoin pair, right, on the relative Bitcoin pair. As long as this keeps holding, you got 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, 4 touch, right? It looks damn good. So maybe you are getting a nice little entry right here on this Bitcoin retouch when we go to new highs. I just don't know enough about it. But it does look very similar. The reason I'm bringing up Tezos, God, I hope this is the one. Maybe it's not. Maybe it wasn't Tezos I was thinking about. But I don't know. I don't think Harmony looks bad. I don't think it looks bad at all. It's definitely on my watch list now. Maybe it is. Whoever's buying this, if it outperforms ETH and Luna in December, let me know. Let me know I was wrong. So, not bad. Not bad. Is there any other coin? I need one more that we can look at that might outperform ETH in December. Does anyone have one? Someone said Chainlink is coming to Harmony. I think Chainlink's going to go, I could launch a chain tomorrow. Chainlink will come to me. It's cool. It's good to see, big coins going there. It's cool to see big brands, I should say, or DeFi partnerships and other chains. It adds legitimacy a little bit. A little bit. One and Phantom F, similar macro PA. Yeah. Andre, I like the BNB play. BNB USDT breaking out. We can look at BNB real quick. BNB is an interesting spot. Just because you're right. It's one of the few coins that's like actually, pull that back up. It's one of those things like BNB kind of reminds me of AVAX in a way. Back when I got excited about AVAX like 3 months ago, it's really rare when you see a chart like this, especially an altcoin chart, that we get like some kind of double top. Like it just doesn't happen really in altcoin land. Sure, it could. Generally, the way altcoins top or blow off, right? Like back here before, way back in 2018, before it was down 80%, is you have some kind of blow off. And it never really gets there again, right? It puts in a lower high. The market isn't able to push us that high again, right? Buyers clearly just kind of got defeated. And we were deep in a bull market, or deep in a bear market by then. But rarely do you get kind of a double top in alts. So we looked at BNB on the weekly open this morning with Ledger and some other guys. And BNB, I think, looks damn good, solely based on the fact that I just don't see many alts putting in that double top, right? So it's not like we formed a lower high and the market just died. That's not what is happening at all. You have BNB kind of knocking on the door of previous all-time highs. Generally, when we kind of keep tapping into that level, I do think that BNB breaks out there. So, plus you could also say this is part of that layer one trade. Like you could say that's part of the exact same theme, which has been the best performing theme besides metaverse coins. So I like BNB. I like it a lot. It's not going to be the most exciting mover, right? Where's BNB at on CoinGecko? It's got to be like, let me pull this over. What's BNB? It's already at number 3. I mean, it's not gonna be the fastest mover. I do think it'll do well though. You don't see a lot of coins double top. Like you just don't. At least altcoins you don't. Right. So I think BNB does break out to new highs. I think that's enough. You could put that up there. I like that. I almost like that more than Harmony. So far, if I were to look at 2 coins, obviously I wanted to fire this up to talk about ETH because it looks so damn good and everyone's talking about it. It's exciting when everyone's talking about ETH. Right? It's good for the rest of the market. I think if ETH breaks out, you got to be targeting kind of that 0.1, the highs back in 2018. That's exciting for me personally because I think other layer ones do well. The coins that have done well all of November, the easiest theme in the market. I've done a million shows on this. I'll talk about it until my face gets red. It's just such an obvious trade. Like if a theme is working, ride the theme. So if ETH breaks out, that's what excites me about it, is that Luna, AVAX, Solana even maybe can do well. And BNB, I think, could ride on the back of that. Plus, you have BNB, which altcoins just generally don't double top like that and die. So I think BNB probably does break out of this. A little bit relying on Bitcoin, but I think it does. And generally, I'm still bullish in the market, so I'm not too worried about Bitcoin just dying. But I like that. I like those two picks. BNB, Harmony. I need to learn a little bit more about Harmony, but I like that. I do. It gives me something to check out. I'm curious how many of you guys are buying ETH before I wrap this stream up. Let me get a vote. Yes or no? Who's about this ETH? I still got people firing DeFi coins in here. You're out of your mind if you think I'm buying DeFi coins. Look, Andre, I've seen a lot of people talk about Curve. Maybe it proves me wrong. Maybe it does. DeFi, no one wants to use DeFi. Like, not a single person. Because if you go onto Uniswap or even try to buy an NFT, right, it costs so much money. It's like 0.1 ETH to do anything. Like, it's not usable right now. And like, I love ETH. I think they're going to solve the scaling problem. Someone way smarter than me will. Maybe they are already doing it. I don't know. No one can use DeFi. So, and it's also like no one, even if you love the DeFi app, it's like you'd rather hold ETH right now. It's deflationary. There's going to be staking. Why are people holding the DeFi coins? They want to vote? People don't like to vote. Right? People just don't like to govern these things. It sounds cool in theory. But it's just, I'm not going to look at DeFi. Raphael said, look at how explosive the XRP breakout can be. I love to trade XRP. I would do it. Okay, Daniel, maybe Curve does look good. I'll look at it on the next show. We could talk about DeFi potentially having a comeback. That gives me a good topic for a future show. It does. We could do it. I'm not sold on it. I'm really not, but it could. It could, man. It's definitely, they're all cheap. I'll see if we got any more. A lot of people saying yes to buy ETH. Before I wrap this up, I want to see how many people are buying ETH. Jeffy said he's buying ETH. Anon said he's buying ETH. Jack bought some ETH this morning. Dai bought some ETH this morning. TR Irwin. So it seems like the 0 IQ play and the 1,000 IQ play. Like it just does. Like, it's such a dumb chart setup. Like, it cracks me up when there's a setup like that, like a falling wedge that everyone draws, but then it works. So it's like a 0 IQ play, which fits me well. And then you have the 1,000 IQ play with, people doing charts of how under-owned it is. I like ETH. I don't know. I do. I'm bullish on it still. Yeah, Asha, what are you drinking? Just having a little bev to end the night. All right, guys. That's all I got. Thanks for coming to hang out. I like ETH. Wanted to give you guys some news on what happened over the weekend. I know people were worried about that Bitcoin dip. A little bit of the variant scare, and it looks like the market's already rebounded. I don't think the stock correlation matters that much. I don't know. The biggest themes for me going into December, and we'll talk about this more throughout the week. Even if Bitcoin bounces, do you really want to buy Bitcoin? Like, I don't know. I'd need an insane catalyst to think that Bitcoin's going to outperform. So even if Bitcoin bounces, I think ETH is probably going to outperform more, right? It's going to outperform. So I'd want to buy ETH. And then on that front, if ETH starts outperforming, the exact same trades that have been working September, October, and November this month, I think that trade keeps working. Maybe this month I'm finally proved wrong. Like maybe AVAX, Luna, Harmony, maybe these things stop outperforming. But I think if ETH breaks out, it means good things for those bags. And obviously the ETH trade's going to be fun. So that's what I'm watching for this week and for the rest of the month. Yeah. That's all I got, guys. Thanks for coming to hang out. I haven't been active on here, so challenging myself, start firing these up again. Hopefully no one tags me in any more serial killer posts. Like I said, you guys are ruining my my meeting schedule in Miami, dude. People think I'm actually a serial killer. But that's all I got. Thanks for coming to hang out. I got to figure out how the hell I end this thing. But, also, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Like this video. It helps me in the algorithm. Drop a comment. Love you guys. It's going to be fun to get these rolling again. See how consistent I can be with them. And also, I have a podcast dropping tomorrow morning with someone from the block. There was some Mt. Gox news that came out about the Mt. Gox coins being released and potentially hurting the Bitcoin market. I have an inside scoop for you coming up about exactly when those Gox coins are going to be released in the market. So you're going to want to hear that. Subscribe on YouTube so you hear it. You'll get that video tomorrow morning. And I got some other good podcasts coming out this week. We'll talk about some metaverse coins. We'll look at DeFi. I think that'd be an interesting topic, but that's all I got. Appreciate you guys. I'll see you sometime later this week. Maybe see you tomorrow. Peace.